He ran away from home with nothing. No money, no connections, not even a plan. But decades later, he would build one of the biggest companies on Earth. The year is 1930. Korea is not the global economic force we know today. It is a country under hardship, rural, struggling, and filled with families fighting simply to survive. In a small farming village, a boy is born into poverty. His future seems already decided: work the land, obey tradition, and live a quiet, predictable life. But this boy refuses. His name is Chung Ju-young, and he is about to rewrite not just his destiny but the future of an entire nation. Chung Ju-young was born in 1915 in what is now North Korea, into a poor farming family. Life was hard. Food was scarce. Opportunities were almost non-existent. From a young age, Chung understood one thing clearly: if he stayed, his life would never change. So he ran away. Not once, not twice, but multiple times. Each time, he was caught and brought back by his father. Each time, he tried again. That persistence wasn't rebellion, it was hunger. Hunger for something bigger than survival. Finally, on his third attempt, he made it to Seoul. He arrived with almost nothing: no money, no connections, no safety net. Just a burning desire to build a different life. In Seoul, Chung took whatever work he could find. He became a laborer, a delivery boy, a clerk, anything that paid enough to keep him going. Eventually, he found work at a rice store. This job changed everything. Chung didn't just work, he observed. He learned how the business operated, how customers behaved, how money flowed. When the owner suddenly left, Chung took over the business. And for the first time, he succeeded. The store grew under his leadership. But fate had other plans. During Japanese colonial rule, strict regulations forced the business to shut down. Just like that, Chung lost everything he had built. Again. Where most people would have stopped, Chung started over. In 1940, he opened a small auto repair shop. It was a modest beginning, but it aligned perfectly with Korea's growing need for transportation and infrastructure. After Korea gained independence in 1945, the country was in ruins. Infrastructure was destroyed. Roads were broken. Cities were struggling to rebuild. Where others saw devastation, Chung saw opportunity. In 1947, he founded a company. He named it Hyundai. The name meant modernity, a bold vision for a country still recovering from chaos. At first, Hyundai was not a car company. It was a construction firm. Chung took on small projects, repairing roads, rebuilding structures, doing whatever work he could find. But he approached every project with relentless discipline and ambition. He wasn't just building roads. He was building trust. Then came the Korean War in the 1950s. The country was devastated once again. But this time, Hyundai was ready. As reconstruction efforts began, Hyundai positioned itself as a key player. Chung took on massive infrastructure projects: roads, bridges, dams, often with little experience but absolute confidence. Many doubted him. But Chung had a unique mindset. He believed that if something needed to be done, he would figure out how to do it. And he did. Hyundai grew rapidly, becoming one of the leading construction companies in South Korea. Chung wasn't just building a business. He was helping rebuild a nation. By the 1960s, Chung had a new vision. He didn't just want to build infrastructure. He wanted to build cars. At the time, this idea seemed impossible. South Korea had no automotive industry, no technology, no expertise. Competing with global giants seemed like a fantasy. But Chung didn't see limits. He saw opportunity. In 1967, he founded Hyundai Motor Company. At first, Hyundai partnered with foreign companies like Ford Motor Company to assemble vehicles. But Chung had a bigger goal. He didn't want to assemble cars. He wanted to build them. In the 1970s, Hyundai made a bold decision. It would create its own car. From scratch. Engineers were hired. Designs were developed. International expertise was brought in. It was a massive risk financially and technically. Failure could destroy everything. It was profitable. It was stable. It was successful. But for Chung, success at home was never enough. He didn't want Hyundai to be a Korean company. He wanted it to be a global force. That ambition led to one of the boldest moves in the company's history, expanding into international markets. Hyundai Motor Company began exporting its vehicles overseas, stepping into arenas dominated by established giants from Japan, Europe, and the United States. The early years were difficult. Hyundai cars were often viewed as cheap alternatives rather than serious competitors. Critics questioned their quality. Customers hesitated. Established brands had decades of trust behind them, while Hyundai was still proving itself. But Chung had faced doubt before. And he responded the same way he always did, with relentless action. Instead of retreating, Hyundai doubled down. The company invested heavily in research, engineering, and manufacturing. Factories were upgraded. Processes were refined. Quality control became stricter than ever before. Every flaw became a lesson. Every complaint became an opportunity to improve. Slowly, something began to shift. Customers started noticing the difference. Reliability improved. Performance improved. Confidence grew. Hyundai was no longer just competing on price, it was competing on value. What was once dismissed as a budget option began to earn respect. From cheap alternative to smart choice to trusted brand. Hyundai wasn't just entering the global market. It was earning its place in it. But Chung's vision didn't stop at automobiles. To him, Hyundai was never meant to be just a car company. It was meant to be something much bigger, a force capable of shaping industries, economies, and even nations. Under his leadership, Hyundai expanded aggressively into new sectors. Shipbuilding became one of its most significant ventures. Hyundai Heavy Industries grew into one of the largest shipbuilders in the world, constructing massive vessels that carried goods across oceans and connected global trade routes. At the same time, Hyundai continued its work in construction and infrastructure. The company took on massive projects across the globe, building highways, bridges, ports, and industrial facilities. These weren't just business ventures, they were symbols of progress, often transforming entire regions. Electronics, engineering, and heavy industries followed. Each expansion carried risk. Each required new expertise. But Chung embraced complexity. He believed that growth came from pushing boundaries, not avoiding them. From a single construction firm, Hyundai evolved into a sprawling global conglomerate. And at the center of it all stood a man who had once run away from a farm with nothing. Chung Ju-young had not only changed his own life. He had changed the trajectory of South Korea itself. What made Chung extraordinary wasn't just what he built. It was how he thought. He didn't see obstacles the way others did. Where most people saw limits, he saw possibilities. Where others hesitated, he acted. One of his most famous beliefs captured this mindset perfectly. If you try, there is no such thing as failure. To Chung, failure wasn't an end, it was information. It was feedback. It was part of the process. This way of thinking shaped every decision he made. It allowed him to take risks others would avoid. It gave him the resilience to start over when everything collapsed. And it fueled the persistence that turned small beginnings into global success. Today, Hyundai stands as one of the largest automotive companies in the world. Its vehicles are sold in over 190 countries. Its factories span continents. Its revenue reaches tens of billions of dollars each year. But numbers alone don't tell the full story. Hyundai represents something deeper. It represents resilience, the ability to rise after failure. It represents innovation, the courage to challenge established systems. And above all, it represents the refusal to accept limitations. From affordable vehicles to advanced technologies, Hyundai continues to evolve, pushing forward in areas like electric mobility, sustainability, and smart transportation. The company is no longer just building cars. It is helping shape the future of mobility. Chung Ju-young's story doesn't begin with success. It begins with struggle. He didn't inherit wealth, he didn't have powerful connections, he didn't follow a clear or easy path. He failed. Again. And again. And again. But each time, he got back up. From running away from a poor farming village, to building one of the largest industrial empires in the world. His journey is more than a business story. It's a reminder that where you start does not define where you end. That failure is not the opposite of success, it is part of it. And that sometimes, the only thing standing between nothing and everything is the decision to keep going. The next time you see a Hyundai on the road, remember, it didn't start in a factory. It started with a boy who refused to stay where he was born. Subscribe now for more stories of ordinary people who built extraordinary empires.